We are live, folks.
I do feel like Lord Farquaad behind here. Like, I just feel so short behind all of this. So if Lord Farquaad was an engineer, I would understand his life.
We'd have quite the studio presence here. I like having this guitar in here. I'm going to play a little tune I learned recently called Electric Love. I wrote this song. I dedicate it to Dee.
Oh, thank you.
Electric Love. I actually will. I will write that song. That will be something.
I'm telling you, I was talking to Dean. I was like, we need a camera in studio for bloopers. People would.
Oh, that would be great.
bloopers.
It would be bloopers. What's up, Bob? Thanks for tuning in, brother man.
I know when I watch a show, like I'll go on YouTube and watch their bloopers, and they are hilarious. I love bloopers.
I've always wanted to do that with The Crossing, like do all the funny things. 'Cause there's so much funny stuff that goes on behind the scenes, but nobody ever sees it.
That would be cool.
Episode. Share. Paste. J-Dog, Jeremy Howard. Share now.
About 5 minutes.
All right, we're live on Facebook, sir. So I just shared through. Live. Hey, what's up, Mama? Hi, good to see you. Bob, how's the family? How's everybody doing? Good? How's your beautiful little girl doing? All right. 6:55. Very nice indeed.
So I believe I shared it.
It's okay. When Snapchat updated, I had to come to my best friend. I'm like, I have no idea what any of this crap is. Like, what is this? And then showing Dean how to Snapchat, that was funny. I wish I had bloopers for that.
Amazing. Hazel says hi, wants to know when the pool party is again this year. The Piper's Paddle Party. Yeah, we will be providing that schedule. We actually have our first public committee meeting tomorrow, and we will be announcing some dates. What's up, Chase? Thanks for joining. So we will have dates available soon. Thank you all for tuning in. And we've got some fun plans. We're going to do another treasure hunt this year for the kids, which will be super fun. All right, counting now. We got 4 minutes until showtime. Got any pre-show jitters?
The usual.
Let's see. I think I'm going to go ahead and turn that guy on and see how we're doing. On and might be able to.
I think you're good right there.
All right. Bada bing, bada boom. Hey, Jason. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, Blair McKnight. Where's Blair?
Where is she?
Darn, I don't see her. Well, she's somewhere out there in Facebook land. Thanks for tuning in, Blair. We just barely got the show produced without you, let me tell you. Real story.
Jay Fisher, cool.
True story. Jay Fisher in the house. J-Dog, the other J-Dog. All right. Hey, guys, great guest.
Thanks, Jay. Miss you, buddy. Hope all is very well. We're not talking through the mics now, right?
No.
No, not yet. And 2 minutes. Blair, there she is. Oh, there's Blair. Hi, Blair. All right. Mm-mm-mm.
Cool.
Man, I can't believe we're almost on episode 80. How's
So
that
this
even
is 79.
possible? Yeah.
79. When was the first episode you did here?
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah, I did. It was the one before. It was 49. So
Oh, right before
this
the
is the
50th,
30th
yeah.
episode here. Because
Wow.
the following week was Matthew Lavinia,
Damn.
who did the 50th, right?
Yeah.
I
Wow.
can't believe it's that long.
So
Yeah,
this
that's
is the
crazy.
30th episode here on Love Street.
Hey, Brittany tuned in. Thanks for tuning in, Brittany. Abigail. Joy. What's up, Joy? You bring so much joy to the world. I miss you. I'm ready for a massage. Paul. You. Wow, you've already created a lot of engagement here on the show. We haven't even gotten
I
started.
don't know if I'm
Man,
Don't give me props for
you're
that.
magnetizing the show here. I like this.
2 seconds.
20 seconds. Uh-oh, I'm caught on something.
Something just come undone.
There we go. There we go.
10 seconds.
Counting down.
Counting down.
Do you want to be able to see the
The
screen?
topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests, and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or
This whole
affiliates.
message is
We
for
make
you.
no recommendations or endorsements for
Right,
radio
give
show
me a
programs,
high
services,
five
or
over here.
products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
All right, we got some Nako leading us in there for episode 79 of the Epic Love Radio Show, brought to you by the Piper's Angels Foundation, on live on Facebook on W4CY.com, available for playback on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Pandora. Man, we're almost at episode 80, and we have a very special guest, the one and only Jeremy Howard, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Welcome. Welcome to the Epic Love
Thank
Radio
you.
Show. We're so happy to
Great
have
to
you
be here.
here. Yes, very nice. And thanks to our supporting sponsors, Bahama Boatworks, Vertex Pharmaceutical, Margaritaville, Secor Island Lines, Dixie Vodka, and Hensler Financial, and Certera Wellness. We couldn't do it without you. Thank you so much. And thank you to all those who are tuning in right now live on Facebook. We see you, we feel you, and we appreciate your love and support. And the purpose of this whole shindig that we got going on here, this broadcasting our vibrational frequencies out into the universe, is to promote the positive and to talk about what epic love means to us. Because there's lots of news in the world, and we're bringing the good news of great people doing inspiring things and sharing their inspiring stories of love through action. What do you think about that, Jeremy?
I don't think we can get enough of it, Trav. Yeah.
I would agree.
Bring it on.
So Jeremy Howard is the owner of Inlet Properties, which is a full-service and boutique commercial and residential real estate brokerage here in the wonderful Jupiter, Florida. How do you enjoy being here in Jupiter, Florida?
Jupiter is actually next month makes 14 years.
Wow.
Next month is 14 years since I've been here. Yeah, it's home.
14
For sure.
years. Yeah. I mean, you fit in really well, and you're coming from your original birthplace.
Small little town. I doubt any one of our viewers have been through it. It's one of those, if you blink, you'll pass right by. But a little town in upstate New York named Phelps, New York. We were actually a town of about 2,000 people. And actually, it took two towns to merge to create a high school graduating class of about 140.
Wow.
Yeah.
2,000 people's less than what I had in my high school. So that's a small town.
Yeah, most people, when you think in New York, you think the city. You think up in New York City, but we are a long ways away, about 6-hour drive of the city. So up there in the snow belt for sure. So no wonder why I enjoy Jupiter, Florida. This time of
You're
year.
not scraping ice off your windshield right now?
No.
Well,
No.
so what? So you basically created a bad name for yourself in the town, and you ran like hell. Is that what happened?
Yes, that's right. Nobody's chased me out of this town yet, so maybe it hasn't caught up with me.
No, you've done a great job. So our story goes back a few years here. I don't know, it must be at least 7 or 8 years, I think, since we first met, maybe on a random occurrence.
Yeah.
And the way this story goes and why I was so excited about having Jeremy on the show, for anybody who doesn't know Jeremy, he's charismatic, he's funny, he is talented and brilliant in his own ways. And the thing I love about him so much is that he has proven to the community that he had a vision and he carried it out and he created it and manifested it. And it's one thing to have ideas, it's another thing to bring those ideas to life. And I appreciate that entrepreneurial spirit so much.
Thank you.
And I
I do
remember,
too.
and I remember when we were down the street at a restaurant, right, just having a beer.
I think it was next door.
Yeah,
Grouper.
yep. And you said, I think we had quite a few beers actually. It might have been a Friday night, and somehow we hit it off, and we were like, wow, we like the same music and the same style.
Yeah, no, I remember seeing you, and it's a small town, so you see a lot of the same faces, but you don't always get to truly know who they are, right? And I remember seeing you going, God, I see this guy all the time, and he's always smiling, always jovial, always got this great energy about him. Yeah, there you go, right? And it was right here next door. And I said, hey, I want to show you something. And at that time, it's actually this building right here, right? This little property down nearby. We're in the Inlet Village District, for all you who have never been at the Epic Love radio show studio before, which Neighbors Square Grouper, and it's just this really charming, funky little area that gives me so much Epic Love. I mean, I can't tell you how much I love this, the old historic nature of this, but this was back when I was leasing the property. And of course, when you lease it, you really can't do too much to it because you don't own it. And I remember you and I walking over here and saying, hey, I want to show you something, because
we may have been stumbling. It was I think we were arm in arm singing songs, and
we had a laptop between us. I was playing music, and I just was trying to tell you, I just wanted to bring people here. I didn't know how I was going to do it, and when it was going to happen, but I wanted to bring people here. And fast forward, 4 years now, 3 or 4 years, we've multiplied, and I think we got some really cool things that we'll touch on during the show, but I'm excited about where this is going and the direction of this area and this property.
Yeah, for sure. And it was we have a storied background in terms of some of the experiences we've had together. I want to give a shout out right now to Heidi and Moose and Mick and Casey and Paul, everybody for tuning in. Moose Brown, the president of Surfers for Autism, another guy bringing epic love into the world for sure. They've got some events coming up here around the corner. I think they got an event coming up on April 4th. Definitely check out Moose. I'm calling you out right now. You got to get on the Epic Love Radio show, brother. So we'll see you soon on the show. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Heidi, our volunteer coordinator for the Piper's Angels Foundation. And a couple of quick updates. So for the Crossing for Cystic Fibrosis, we have some incredible momentum so far this year. And I just can't believe people keep signing up to paddle 80 miles across the ocean. They've got to be a little crazy, but that's okay, because we're crazy for love. Loco Love.
Loco Love.
Loco Love. There it is. We have just over $140,000 in fundraising for this year's event. Our goal is $750,000, up from last year from $500,000. And we're setting big goals, but we want to achieve them, and we're bringing the heat. We're just under 150 days to go to the event, over 60 registered paddlers, and our first public committee meeting is tomorrow. So this is very important. This is the kickoff meeting, and it also is the celebration of Piper's Angels' 3rd birthday. So January 26th was when we got our 501c3 status from the IRS, and so 3rd birthday. We are so proud of the work that we've been able to do in the CF community and all our CF warriors out there that we represent. So tomorrow at Grandview at the district workspace, it's downtown West Palm Beach, kind of a nice central location for people.
Very cool stuff.
It's a great spot. There's going to be live salsa dancing and music afterwards, some drinks and cocktails. Big shout out to Dixie Vodka for being the official spirit of everything we do. And so come on out, bring one, bring all. It's an open call meeting, which means anybody can come to learn, to ask questions. You're going to meet some of the committee heads who run the event and produce the event, and we're going to cover a lot of the bases and get through quite a bit. So we'd love to have you out.
Yeah, I'll just add to that, because last year I was actually not going to, I had no intention of doing the crossing when I went to my first public committee meeting, and that's God's honest truth. And I left that meeting having about every emotion sucked out of me by this guy. And then I realized I signed up for the crossing. So please come on out. Definitely come on out tomorrow.
Yeah,
You'll
definitely.
enjoy it.
Thanks. EJ, thanks for tuning in. Mr.
Edward.
EJ Reynolds. Thanks, Heidi, for the birthday wishes for Piper's Angels. And Moose, thank you. Yeah, you keep up the great work. We appreciate it. So we are underway, and we're counting down. And so the goal here of the show was to really do this: invite folks who have these inspiring stories to share and to provide value, and for us to be able to share our CF story and the community that we represent. And so, I think Epic Love a lot of times is born out of sometimes very challenging, difficult circumstances people face. When you think back in your life to a difficult time or adversity, are there any stories or any people that stand out that really represent what Epic Love means to you?
Yeah, I think that honestly a lot of them come to mind, but to touch on just a few different stories of my life, and I can't say it was really born out of adversity more than it was born out of curiosity. So when I was a little kid, I remember in that small town, everybody knew my mom, and everywhere I went, it was, "Oh, you're Patty Howard's son? Oh, you're Patty Howard's son?" And I said, "Yeah, my name's Jeremy. I'm not just Patty Howard's son." And
Right.
then, so I started kind of watching her, going, "Well, why does everybody? They're just so magnetized to my mama? Well, all 4'10" of her. This woman." I started watching her, and she's the most optimistic, positive, charismatic woman I know. She's such a hostess. But people were drawn to her because they just felt so safe and comfortable around her, and they would pour their life story to her, and she listened. And she listened. And everywhere I went, it was always, you went to the grocery store, and she had to talk to 20 people. I was like, "Mom, come on, I want to get going." So to me, Epic Love comes in many, many forms, but that really was one of the first people in my life who inspired me to really want to try to be like her. I wanted to be the host. I wanted to get people together. And to me, I think Epic Love, shared experiences. I had a mentor in my life, Frankie, he's still with us, but he had a saying, it was shared experiences. And it doesn't matter what you do in this world unless you share it with somebody else, right? So those were two things that really stick out as a young kid, where I always wanted to be like my mom. I always wanted to be the host. I always wanted to get people together and just share these epic experiences together.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to your mama.
Yeah, go mom.
For inspiring some epic love in the world.
Yeah, she might be out there. I don't know. She might be listening.
In Facebook land?
Yeah.
Well, I know she's got to be really proud of you, because you've developed quite a bit here to empower the community. Thanks, Brad. Thanks, Nikki, for tuning in. Some of our Piper's Angels family out there in the world. Hey, guys, if you have any questions out there in Facebook land, make sure you drop them in the comments for Jeremy or for myself, for any of the experiences, the shared experience. I love that. I'm adopting
Shared
that.
experiences.
I'm adopting that.
Yeah.
That was your mentor. What was his name? Frankie?
Uncle Frankie. Yeah.
Frankie.
Frankie, actually, there's I don't know where to begin with stories around him, but he always made it a point to set an example. So when I was about 14, 15 years old, he literally started sending me letters about the history of music. And he said, "My gift to you is going to be music." And that's truly stuck with me for all the live concerts that I've tried to travel around and see. But he would actually send me these letters, and then he would send me a concert ticket and say, go to the show.
That was generous of him.
Go to the show. True story. He'd say, go to the show, tell me your favorite song, and then he'd say, well, tell me who the artist is and why they wrote it and what that song means to you, right? So he always had a way of making you dive deeper into the background of the story and why an artist wrote a song. And then when you listen to that song again, it actually completely changes the meaning of that song in your own head. Sometimes it's not your favorite song anymore when you figure out why it was really written, right? But yeah, Frankie, I appreciate him. He's actually was one of the reasons why I moved down here.
Okay.
I discovered West Palm Beach, Florida about 15 years ago because of him.
Right on.
Yeah.
And what was the big kind of commitment or turning point that you made the decision to move?
Again, a lot of reasons. I wanted to get out and change. I just wanted to get out of that, love the small town. I had amazing, growing up experience there, but I wanted to get out and just kind of expand my horizons and meet new people. And after one winter in South Florida, I was hooked, realizing that it's just me here most of the time. And I just felt like there was so much untapped potential down here. And I was trying to figure out a way to, how can I get more people to enjoy this space and come here more often, whether it be come in the morning and watch the sunrise right here over the inlet, or grab a paddleboard and go paddling, grab a coffee, or, we built out this little event venue in the back, and we can host events and fundraisers and bring charities and nonprofits in here, or come in here and just work together in a shared workspace and actually co-market together and brand and just spread your brand and podcast together. So that's sort of the idea and the vision of where I want the space to go, is literally to grab select people, entrepreneurs, life coaches, musicians, to come here and work together and share the energy that this space has.
And are you using any specific kind of models or examples to inspire that or build off of that?
No, right now I've really just been, I've been setting up the real estate, right? So I've been setting up the actual properties to be very versatile, to be flexible in the different rooms and the different atmospheres, to actually be conducive to multi-uses. But, I've really just over the past year and a half been throwing a lot of energy out into the world about what, who I want to meet and who I think there would be a fit here. And it's just amazing when you throw that energy into the universe of the people that you just get introduced to. I have all these guys who have these, and gals who have these either inspiring stories, or they're just their mission, their stories that they want to put out on podcasting. They're looking for a place to actually be able to come and do that together, right? So it's really just been through word of mouth and introductions and just people referring people.
How many events do you think you've hosted here so far?
Have not as many radio shows as you've hosted. I have to say, actually, this is the we were just doing the math before the show. This is the 30th radio show right here in the studio. Okay, so yeah, that's that takes us back to what month? Like maybe. I remember it being the 49th, because the following week was the 50th, and you interviewed Matthew Lavinia, who epically raised like $130,000 last year. It was,
from the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office.
So yeah.
So in terms of this space, which is called Speakeasy Studios, and the intention there is to create an environment where you can have this shared experience, shared workspace. And ultimately, so people could potentially host events here?
Absolutely. Yeah. I see the space being used specifically as a shared workspace during the day, to get people who really want to come and be a part of something, maybe tied to an exclusive membership. So we would have coffee and espresso on tap. They could come, they could host meetings, they could host an event, whether it be a fundraiser or even a private event, right? We have access to this radio studio back here where they can do some podcasting where they might need this equipment, or they have other rooms where they might be able to just use their own videography or whatever equipment they need. So we actually just right over on Love Street, I guess we doubled up. We were able to acquire another property. So I'm building that out and put a little funky little Airstream in the back. And given though it's on Love Street, I'm thinking of calling it the Love Stream. And building that out as a really funky lounge to let guys like yourself, when you don't need the actual radio equipment,
Right.
to be able to sit there and do a podcast.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, to give the audience and the listeners an idea, I mean, how many? This is like how many years in the works? How long have you been leasing this property?
We started probably about 5 years ago, 5-6 years, yeah.
So, and that was about the time we met, I think, and you were kind of giving me this grand vision, and you were talking about it. And this property is really beautiful. I mean, if you haven't been here, there's been a lot of events, charity events hosted here. It's right next to the Square Grouper off of Love Street, and it's a very empowering space. There's a wonderful friend who lives here as well, named Tiki. We can't.
Well, we don't live
about
here anymore.
Well, that's
Tiki's
true.
not here.
That's true.
We didn't go far.
But he roams.
He roams.
He roams. So, and then the other space. So this is Speakeasy Studios. The other space that Jeremy was just talking about. I mean, you'd have to kind of see it to believe it, really. And I mean, and honestly, I wish there was a video that showed the before and after, because, I mean, it was a very different property before, and you have transformed it. And I think what's really valuable for people to understand. What's up, Phil? EJ's back. Blair, thank you guys. What's really valuable to understand is that the building could have just been demolished. Yeah. And it could have been a parking lot, basically. But your vision saved it. Your idea saved a piece of history. And people for the next forever, when they come to Jupiter, they will always walk by that property and they will see it, and it will evoke a sense of enchantment, a sense of charm, a sense of old Florida, a sense of old Jupiter.
Yeah. And
I think truly that is the brilliance in the vision that you had, the brilliance in the vision you were able to manifest and deliver on, right? You got people staying in it right now. It's
Right.
going down.
Right.
This place is going. Loco Love.
Just so everybody knows what property we're talking about, because I can't wait for Love Street to open back up. Love Street, as most everybody knows, especially local, Love Street's a dirt road, right? And that street to me is epic love, and not just because of the pun of the word Love Street, but it's the main road that leads you down into Square Grouper, right here on the inlet. So you have the lighthouse at the end. So if you follow me and you close your eyes and you're coming down Love Street, there's 4 little houses that are, you would walk right by them, but there's 4 little cottages that have been down here. They would actually qualify as historic properties. They're 50, 60 years old, just handed down from family member to family member. But you dead end right into the Square Grouper. We all know the history of the Square Grouper with Jimmy Buffett, singing 5 O'Clock Somewhere There with Alan Jackson. You got the lighthouse, you got the inlet, and then you have the Pelican Club. The Pelican Club is actually the wedding venue now, and they're booked out. It's a home run. It's an absolutely beautiful venue. They're booked out every Friday and Saturday, believe it or not, through 2020 into 2021, and a handful of Sundays. So you got people getting married down here, right? And then they're actually adding in a rooftop deck on an oyster sports pub and a fish market and draft house. So the last little property there on Love Street, I have just about killed myself trying to preserve it and renovate it, and I can honestly say we're just about done. But that project has inspired me and motivated me. We got some technical difficulties over here.
Oh, okay, you're good.
But so that property has really opened my eyes into a lot of things, and it's something that I hope everybody out there. Trav and I were talking before the show about my intent on this show today, and there's been a lot of people on the show, and I've got to see, since you guys are down here, a lot of them, and they're far more inspiring than I have. And these people they're devoting their entire lives to do some just really, really epic things. So hats off to all of them. But speaking more practically for myself, my intent would be, I just hope everybody can find something. It can't always be your career. Hopefully it is. But if it's not, whether it be a project or a hobby, or someone or something that truly keeps you up at night because you're so excited. And we're not robots, we're all humans, so this stuff comes and goes. But I can tell you that this project man, did it keep me up at night starting 5 years ago, believe it or not, way before I even had a clue that I was, somehow the stars would align and I would have the opportunity to even acquire the property. And I mean that. 5 years ago, Travis, back before I leased this, I came down here and I knocked on everybody's doors and just said hello. Just said hello. They didn't know who I was. Got the opportunity to lease this as an office, went around and just said, hey, to all the neighbors, if you guys need anything, I'm here. And I got to really enjoy and build a relationship with many of my neighbors. Ishbel, right here neighboring us, she is just the sweetest woman I know. Judy and Barry and Tom and all these people. And just find something though. This project has completely opened my mind. I couldn't sleep at night waiting to just get up and renovate this place. And I can't wait to show everybody. I really can.
So what are some of the features of the Loco Love property? Because I mean, I got the grand tour, and I mean, it is super cool.
Yeah, thank you. No, the property is again, it's going to be part of Speakeasy Studios, where it's a flexible, versatile space, right? My end goal is I see it to be a shared, a place where you can share experiences, where it can be a shared workspace as well, right? When it's not being potentially rented out to the wedding parties as a vacation rental, it would be a place where we can have some live music, have some fundraisers, charity events.
What's the theme over there? Like you went for a specific kind of
very
decor.
very boho, very vintage kind of Cali, just a boho bungalow type of vibe, right? We have the Chicago brick that this area is, kind of known for. Tiki lights out in the backyard. We put an Airstream in there that I still don't know what we're gonna do with yet, but it looks beautiful. But
I love you just call it the Love Stream.
The Love Stream.
I like that a lot. That's sweet.
Synthetic turf, just a really funky kind of
nice fire pit
place.
in the back.
A little fire pit. Yeah. Yeah. So it might, if I had it, my vision would be to have a lot of musicians come, stay, write music together, kind of just be motivated, inspired to actually write music, and then at nighttime we'd be able to have a little bonfire and listen to the songs they came up with.
That would be cool.
That would be just so cool, right?
Can I
Travis,
be
you can bring
here
the
when Kenny Chesney comes?
Yes.
Kenny Chesney and like Stick Figure.
Yeah.
Stick Figure is going to be down here in I want to say I just saw Blair. Blair, if you're still watching, drop it in the comments. When is Stick Figure coming? No, I think somebody sent me a message and said they're coming down. So like they would be awesome. So a good example of that
I don't know
is,
if we have enough room.
well, okay, here's the thing.
Bit less
No, check this out. Sunbum Sunscreen, when they launched in Cocoa Beach, they got this little tiny house. If it's 1,000 square feet, I'd be surprised. On the back porch, it's called Sunny's Porch. If you go to their YouTube channel, you can see nearly, I think, a decade worth of musicians who, what they would do is they just reach out as they were routing through. They're not paying them. They're just saying, hey guys, we've got an audience here, of our fans, obviously people who are Sunbum, we would like to have you stop by and just play 3 songs. And then they would leak that out into the local town, like maybe literally 3 hours before.
Sure. And
people would get the word. I mean, they had some big artists actually stop by what they called Sunny's Porch. And so, if it is totally possible that if you got somebody, you can reach out and Stick Figures routing through, they don't need to come to a full set. They could just stop by and just, grab a couple guitars, Scott Woodruff and Tiki and Coco. Tiki and Coco. Oh my gosh, a match made in heaven.
There
the
we
2
go.
dogs. Oh my gosh, Coco the tour dog. They could totally play there.
Yeah, no,
That would be
I see.
epic.
Yeah, I think it would be epic.
I think
It would be
you'd
great.
have to offer though the hey Talia, thanks Mick for tuning in. Danny, what's up? I'm in Stick Figure. Paul, you put Stuck Figure. I think that's a different band.
Paulie's in. I like it.
Yeah, and you know who else is coming? Trevor Hall is coming to Terra Firmata in Stewart.
I've still yet to go.
Oh man!
Similar vibe.
First of all,
Yeah.
I've never been to Trevor Hall, but he's on my bucket list of people who I want to go see. And Terra Firmata is an incredible venue to see people because it's so low key, it's so cool, it's so intimate.
Chill. Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel like you're in the backyard. Yeah, and that's kind of what we went through here too. But I'll throw it out to the listeners. These spaces, Speakeasy Studios. If you have, And we have about a dozen people right now that are already starting to jump on board. But if you have even a podcast that you want to do of your own, whether it be for personal, we have the Epic Love Radio Show that inspiring stories of love through action, right? Whatever it might be, reach out. I would love to have you. I want to start getting not recruiting, but just attracting people who want to do their podcast and to do them together down here. I think this is a really great place to do it. And I've been kicking around, and Travis and he keeps pushing me. Come on, when are you going to do yours? When are you going to do yours? And
I'm telling you,
I actually got a funny little story I'll share. I got this idea, and this is something that's been in my mind for I don't know, a couple of years now, maybe a year. And I want to do a podcast titled "What's Your Circus Tent?" What's your circus tent, right? What does that mean, right?
I don't know what that means. I guess you're going to tell us.
So I was sitting right over here, square grouper, and the short story is there's a couple of guys sitting down next to me, and one of them looks over and goes, he kind of just yells it at me. We weren't even making eye contact, and he goes, "What do you do?" And that kind of startled me, and I turn around and I go, "Well, I'm in real estate, and my buddy over here is a sales coach. What do you do?" And he goes, "Well, you're in real estate, huh? Well, you need to know that guy." And he kind of signals to his friend who had just got up and left. And I said, "Cool. Who's that guy?" And he goes, "Oh, he's worth millions." And I'm great. How do you do it?
Yeah.
I'm a story guy. Tell me the story. And he goes, "Oh, well, he was a builder, but he was a struggling builder back in the day." And he starts filling in the blanks. And the guy had come eventually and told me the story. And it was mind blowing. So he was this builder who he saw that there was the CEO of this global company wanted to throw this massive party. He wanted to build on 7 acres of land, like this 15,000 square foot home. But it was going to be a 2-year build, and he had to get it done by New Year's of XYZ date so he could throw this huge party, right? No builders that he interviewed would even come close to agreeing to that. They said, "I'm not signing a contract that says I'll get that done. There's no way." Well, this guy goes, "I'll do it. I'll finish that home." Well, fast forward a year and a half later, months leading up to the end date for this party, bad weather was coming in. So the builder goes up to this CEO of this massive company and goes, "Hey, boss man, bad weather coming in. I'm not going to be able to finish that home. I just want you to know so you can move your party back." And the guy goes, "Finish the home." And the guy goes, "Yeah, I know. I figured you'd say that, but bad weather, I'm not going to be able to finish that home." And he goes, "I just want to let you know." He goes, "Finish the home." And the builder looks at it and goes, "Well, unless you want me to buy the world's largest circus tent and cover the whole property, I'm not going to finish the home." And what did the CEO say?
He said, "Buy
the circus tent." So that guy goes,
Nice.
2 18-wheeler trucks later, 30 guys assembled this massive circus tent. They work day and night. They finish the home. He goes up to him days before the party and says, "What do you want me to do with the circus tent?" And the guy said, "Keep the circus tent." So he rents out circus tents across the globe. So I would love to have a little podcast called "What's Your Circus Tent?" and just interview, kind of like you are, but interview people on their amazing stories that allowed them to pop.
Yeah.
Somehow they just,
The turning point.
their turning point, right?
Yeah.
How they arrived.
Yeah, that's a great story. I love that story.
It's a
What a
circus
great
tent.
visual too.
Yeah, and I think that'd be kind of cool. It would you could travel around and go seek out these people with these amazing epic stories, and go to them as a courtesy. I'm coming to you, sit down and interview them, and write a book.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it definitely occurs to me that there's always a way. I mean, people say that, but there really is. If you want to figure something out, there is always a way, and it will line up, and it will manifest. And I think people just underestimate that, and I think that's a big part of. And I'm going to go a little bit metaphysical here, but I think that's a big part of why people don't necessarily chase the dreams that they have, because if you really believe in this separation, that you're kind of separate from it all, you're this individual entity, and you're operating in your own world, it's so much easier to believe in what can manifest when you understand like the laws of quantum physics and you understand why and how everything actually is interconnected. Because if you can see all of life as a vibrational field, and you know that light, sound, everything that we literally touch and feel is at some form vibration or light, I mean, it just changes how you fundamentally look at how you treat people, the words you use, the actions you take, what time you go to bed, what time you wake up, why you would go watch the sunrise. You know, how the ocean heals people is not just some, you know, witchy woo-woo kind of stuff. It's proven science. And when you think about the energy the sun invests into the ocean, right? The currents that move around the ocean, the warmth of the ocean, when you go get in the ocean, right, it just draws. I mean, it literally, the reason it feels like it blankets you and you feel so humbled and you feel like you're in a womb is because you are in that energy, right? And I mean, you know, I can go down some pretty deep metaphysical rabbit holes, or in some ways come out of them, right? You know, but when people are have that kind of limited perception, I think that's a big part of the expansion of consciousness. And what we talk about with Epic Love is like what you bring as an impact to the community. I mean, your expansive awareness of these things that have helped you manifest your dreams is a great example for anybody else paying attention. And that's why you're on the show, you know, and you are a great storyteller. And that's why I think you would have a great podcast, because that's what it takes. People love stories. I mean, and why even tell a story if it's not a good one? It was funny. I was doing a tour of the Vero Beach Resort. Maybe the Driftwood Inn in Vero Beach, and it's got all this historied artifacts and all this stuff. You can actually take a tour of it because it was this same kind of visionary person who came in and built it long time ago. And it's built mostly out of wood, and it's a very historical place, and it has a bunch of historical stuff. Well, on the tour, you're going through, and in this one particular zone, in this one room, it's like the lobby, they have a bell. And, you know, on the tour, they explain where the bell came from. Oh, it was given to him by, you know, Elizabeth, whatever, and, you know, this whole story, right? Well, in the original, as they're telling the story, when people used to come there, he would give the tour, right? This was the original owner. And what happened was he was given a tour one day and he was talking about the bell. Well, like a week later, the person came back and he was given the tour and talking about the bell, and it was a different story about how the bell got there. And the person in the tour was like, wait a second, I was here last week and you said that the bell came from this other place. And he said, oh, well, it's better to be a liar than a bore. This is the power of the storytelling, you know, the power of a great story.
I love it.
Yeah. And you're like a living great story, right? You are
live a great story.
Live a great story.
Well, we try. I think we all try. You know, it's funny.
His shirt literally says "Live a great story."
It does.
Just want to point that
It does.
out.
I think my phone says it too.
I don't know who makes that shirt, but I like them.
You know, as we're sitting here on Love Street, and we were talking about the street and everything that's being built around it. You know, it reminded me. I was sitting in one of my neighbor's street or houses down the street, and on Love Street. And this gentleman is he's a veteran. You know, he was in the Marines. Sweetheart of a man. He's probably in his early 80s now, and he's sitting down there right now as we speak. But I was sitting in the kitchen talking to him, and I was just saying how much I love the area, and we're neighbors. And he looks at me and he goes, "Jeremy, do you know that this street used to be called Loveless Street?"
Mm.
And
Loveless
Street. And I had no clue, no bear. You know, I didn't know that. And he goes, yeah, look it up. And I did. And it took me a long time to find it, but he goes on, proceeds to tell me that his mother, who lived in that home, she's since passed. So back in 1949, when this street was first a dirt road, it was called Loveless Street. And in 1971, his mom writes a letter to the town. Literally, she writes a letter to the town of Jupiter, handwritten letter. And she writes, "Dear town of Jupiter," she goes, "on behalf of the four of us living down here on Loveless Street, there's more love down here than you would ever know. And I'm tired of writing Loveless on my checks." And she goes on and she goes, "We request to rename the street from Loveless to Love. And believe it or not, the town of Jupiter writes her a letter back and says, on behalf of the town of Jupiter, as fast as the ink dries on the sign will be as soon as we install it, please consider it Love Street from here on out.
Wow.
Yeah. And not a lot of people know that about that street, which is really kind of funny right now, because I look at it every day and it's a dirt road again. So for this short chapter in time, I've been calling it Loveless because I feel like it's going back to its original roots. It was dug up and we're a dirt road again. And pretty soon it'll get put back together and it's going to be very cool. Better than it ever was. But yeah.
Wow. That
Those are
is an
me.
epic love story. Thanks for bringing that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's awesome. If anybody has any questions out there, please share it. Danny says, I truly value what you're expressing so creatively with your conception of Love Street.
Danny,
Jeremy.
thank you.
It shines.
Thank you. You know what, Danny, on that note, this is just my personal belief, but I think there's room. I think there's room for both. I think there's room for it all. There is new development and progress being made in the area. And there's folks like myself preserving these historic buildings. I'm not the only one. If you guys ever get a chance to go down Center Street in Jupiter, there's actually another Airstream. It's a little locomotive coffee shop, and it's sitting on a historic property known as the Sims House. A guy by the name of Ernie is, pouring his heart into this property to preserve it and make it something funky that we can all enjoy, right? I'm doing the same, and it's not easy. In fact, it would have been easier just to knock it down. But I do also agree with a little bit of both, both to the east and west of me, there's going to be new development, there's progress. In my opinion, not to get too into the rules of the area, but you can't build over 30 feet in the area. So Jupiter is a very charming area. It's a very desirable area for people to come. We all know this time of year, you look at the streets, you look at the traffic, it's getting a little busier. But let's be thankful that our building codes honestly will not allow us to be a Miami-Dade. We're not going to be a Broward. We're not going to even be a Boca. We won't have the high rise on top of high rise. You can't build over 4 stories in Jupiter, and on the Inlet Village District, you can't go over 30 feet. So I think that we should be happy that that's the case, right?
Yeah, no, that's huge. I mean, my family, we always vacation at Sanibel Island every summer, and Sanibel has the same restriction. And let me tell you, that one rule keeps the island feeling like old Florida and feeling like local and low key. And it makes a huge difference, because when you start popping up huge buildings and it does really change
how many
the
places
scenery.
can you drive to with your dog in the car, park right on the beach for free, no charge, hop out without even a dog leash, and you're running on the beach with your dog. Yeah, it's a special area.
For sure. Well, and it's an area that's really supportive of empowering people to live better lives. You think about the nonprofits and the organizations we have in the community that are doing great work, like the Lori Griffiths of the world with Chasing the Dream, and the Moose Browns with Surfers for Autism, and Firefighters on a Mission, and the Police Athletic League. And I mean, we have a bunch of nonprofits participating in the crossing this year. That
it's wild. I read a statistic recently that there's over 2,000 charity events in Palm Beach County a year. Now, that must only be registered events, because I'm certain they don't know about the charity events that we would host here,
right? Yeah,
or who Moose might do down the road, or someone might do. So that number's got to be double or triple. But to actually be registered events, 2,000 a year. Right.
Yeah.
That's wild. There's so much giving going on in the town, to the point where you got to actually be careful where you're spending all your money. Because,
Absolutely. Well, and you want to hear another interesting stat? There's only one in Bimini.
Aha! All right.
Sorry.
Mid-June, right?
Yeah, mid-June. I don't know how many charity events are in Bimini, but we start in Florida and end in, we do kind of start in Florida and then go to Bimini and back. But yeah, no, it's definitely one of those communities that's very supportive. If anybody has any questions out there, please feel free to drop them in the comments. Thanks for tuning in, Matt, Nikki, and Matt Cardone.
Mia.
Yeah, what's up? So Matt is he's a big part of the crossing, and
you mentioned Bimini again, and so I'll touch on a couple experiences I had with the crossing because we haven't even talked about the crossing, the whole night.
Mm-hmm.
But so it's amazing, as Mike Tyson says, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face, right? And that's exactly what happened on multiple different times on this crossing. So all the way up to the point where we had 2 boats, we had 9 paddlers, captain and crew, might have been 14, 15 of us. And the night before, I get a phone call from one of the other guys saying, "Hey, are you going tomorrow morning?" And we said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, there's a boat with 3 guys that their boat's not working. They need a ride." No problem. I didn't know. I didn't even run it by the captains. I just figured, hey, this is what we're here for. We got to help out. Well, the next morning we find out that there's 2 boats and 5 or 6 guys and 4 paddle boards and coolers. We're like, all right, well, here we go. So, but I would not have met these guys had it not been for the problem that they went through, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they had their boat not broken down, I would not have met them. So this one gentleman was with I believe the Boynton Beach Fire Department. His name's Jorge Cadiz. I got talking with him on the way over there, got to know him, and I looked down, he has this red bracelet on with this name Jeremy. And it's all it says is Jeremy. So I had to ask him about it, and he had told me, "Oh, it's I haven't taken this bracelet off for 2 years." He said this was one of the firefighters that was in my department, and he lost his battle to cancer 2 years ago. I haven't taken it off. I said, "Wow." And he goes, "Yeah, I'm paddling for Jeremy." And so that's really inspiring, man. That's great, And so we proceed to finish this truck across the ocean, and by the time we get to Bimini, right before pulling up, he comes to the back of the boat where I was standing, and he is taking this bracelet off his wrist. And I look at him and I said, "No, Jorge, I can't accept that." He goes, "No, Jeremy, I want you to have this bracelet." I said, "Jorge, you haven't taken this off for 2 years. I can't accept this bracelet." He goes, "Jeremy, I'll get another one." He goes, "But there's going to be a point in this paddle where you're going to be hurting." And he goes, "I want you to look down at Jeremy, and I want you to just picture my friend."
Wow.
And I put it on my wrist, right? And I can't tell you how many times during that crossing, I looked down and I thought to myself, this guy would give anything. And I think about this often, right? So, I lost my aunt to cancer. She was very young, 47, 3 kids. Anytime that I would do in a race, whether it be a marathon, triathlon, or whatever it was, I lied. I've never done a marathon, but triathlon,
an Ironman,
just a little sprint, none of those. But I thought to myself, that's kind of like one of my whys, right? That's my whys, and I think to myself, what they would give to feel this earthly pain, right? And earthly pain is extremely temporary.
Yeah,
it's very temporary.
Very.
In fact, I often think that is it even pain if you know it's going to not be there pretty soon,
right? Yeah,
right. So it's just time passing, right? So I will say the next day at the award ceremony, I saw Jorge standing off to the side, and I went up to him, taking the bracelet back off to give it to him, give him a hug, and he wouldn't let me take it off. I still have it today. So yeah.
That's an awesome
pretty
story.
inspiring.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks, Jorge, if you're out there.
Yeah, thanks, Jorge and Jeremy, for inspiring that in everybody. So that's what it's all about. That's another great epic love story, my friend. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to.
I'll remember that one. That's powerful, and that's a big part of what I do love about the crossing is that you bring a lot of different people together, and everybody does have their why, and it's a great opportunity to challenge yourself and test yourself in a different kind of way, and so I'm always just so honored and grateful that people do sign up and do care about helping our mission through Piper's Angels Foundation and supporting our CF Warriors. I couldn't be more grateful for your support with the Epic Love Radio Show here with Inlet Properties, and with Team Inlet, fundraising over $15,000 last year, and really bringing it. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks to the rest of the group, the team. They really stepped up. In fact, this year we're going to have, we might even have 3 boats.
Oh boy.
And a few more paddlers.
Oh boy.
So we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we would love that, and it's going to be a great year. We have kind of a secret surprise I can drop on you, but we have a company that's providing a yacht that is going to act as a live studio where we can broadcast live from Bimini and during the event. So that's going to be an interesting component to add to this year. We got about a minute left here on the show. Any final words or any final thank yous you want to send out into the universe here as we land the Epic Love plane?
Yeah, well, Trav, I'll start with you. Thank you for having me on the show, and to anybody who's tuned in. I know like I said, I've gotten to see a lot of the guests that have come on the show. They are some extremely inspiring people that are very selfless, much more than I. So I appreciate it. I appreciate you even having the studio here, because you've changed my life. You've brought a lot of really cool people into this property and into this place and into this home, and yeah, I really appreciate it. And I got to throw a shout out to Team Inlet. You guys stepped up. I can't even believe it. All the phone calls that poured in as soon as a few of us registered to jump on the team, and then to throw the events and raise all that money. So go Team Inlet. We're gonna put another team together this year. And yeah, Trav, thanks for having me out.
Right on. Thanks for being here and promoting the positive and sharing your inspiring stories of love through action. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to this episode 79 with the one and only Jeremy Howard. We'll see you next week, same time, same place. We love you. Peace.
Peace.
Hi, Tatiana.
I don't even know if I want to hear that playback.
Oh, yeah, that was a great show, man. That was awesome. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We love you. And have a wonderful night. Enjoy the cool weather. See you tomorrow at the committee meeting. See you on Saturday if you're going to Ryan Burgess's training for